You spend weeks motivating yourself to start that new project. You make vision boards, read inspirational quotes, and watch every YouTube video on getting started. The fire burns bright inside you. Then something strange happens. The moment you actually begin the work, your motivation vanishes. The enthusiasm that carried you for weeks suddenly feels distant, replaced by hesitation and doubt. This isn't a personal failure. You've just encountered the motivation paradox. Think about the last time you performed at your absolute best. Maybe you were under pressure at work, helping a friend through a crisis, or caught in a competitive situation. In those moments, were you actively thinking about being motivated? Probably not. You were simply doing. The motivation paradox works like this. The more we chase motivation, the more it eludes us. The times we perform with greatest excellence often happen when we're not focused on feeling motivated at all. Research from psychologist csikszentmihalyi revealed that people reach flow state, that magical zone of perfect performance, when they're completely absorbed in an activity for its own sake, not because they pump themselves up beforehand. This contradicts everything modern culture teaches us about achievement. We're told to find our passion and stay motivated as prerequisites for success. But what if those very pursuits are what's holding us back? Manson captures this in The Subtle Art of Not Giving a FCK, when he writes about the backwards law. The desire for a more positive experience is itself a negative experience. And paradoxically, the acceptance of one's negative experience is itself a positive experience. Your brain doesn't actually need motivation to function at its peak. Stephen Pressfield calls this concept turning pro in his book, The War of Art. Professionals don't wait for motivation. They show up and do the work regardless of how they feel. Remember when you learned to drive? At first, you needed intense concentration for every turn and lane change. Now you drive while holding conversations or thinking about your day. Your competence made motivation unnecessary. The same principle applies to nearly everything. When Olympic athletes break records, they aren't reciting motivational mantras in their heads. They're fully present in the moment, their training taking over. So what's happening here? Why does focusing on motivation backfire? The answer lies in our psychological machinery. Motivation operates primarily in the planning stages of action. It's the anticipatory emotion that helps us envision future rewards. But once we begin actual execution, different mental systems take over, systems centered on attention, skill application, and problem solving. Neuroscience supports this. Planning and execution activate different brain regions. When we fixate on maintaining motivation during execution, we actually create cognitive interference. We're forcing our brain to multitask between doing and feeling. Consider Viktor Frankl's observation from Man's Search for Meaning. He noticed that happiness cannot be pursued directly. It must ensue from dedication to a cause greater than oneself. The same applies to performance excellence. It ensues when we forget ourselves in the work. This explains why people often perform extraordinarily in crisis situations. The emergency room doctor saving a life isn't worried about staying motivated. The urgency of the situation eliminates all self-consciousness. The practical takeaway? Stop trying to motivate yourself during execution. Instead, create systems that make starting easier. Break tasks into smaller components. Starting a 5-minute task requires less motivational fuel than a 5-hour project. Establish clear triggers for work. Your morning coffee can signal writing time. Changing into workout clothes can trigger exercise. Remove friction from your environment. Keep tools accessible. Eliminate distractions before they occur. Accept the uncomfortable emotions that arise during work. The restlessness, boredom, and uncertainty are normal parts of the process. Focus on completion rather than perfection. Finish beats perfect every time. The ancient Stoics understood this principle. Epictetus taught that we should focus only on what's within our control. Your emotional state often isn't. Your actions always are. The next time you find yourself searching for motivation, remember that your best work happens when you forget about motivation entirely. Don't wait to feel ready. Start the task, and watch how your mind naturally engages once you're in motion. The greatest paradox of achievement isn't finding enough motivation, it's realizing you needed much less of it than you thought. Performance excellence isn't about feeling good before you start. It's about starting before you feel good. Your best self emerges not when you're chasing motivation, but when you've moved beyond needing it at all.